Okay, I was looking for a truth tree to Yoda's truth tree. You know what I'm talking about, Jedi? Out there in the real woods. You got to figure out Jack Sparrow's compass using the Feynman diagrams and some of those other models that are gonna be relative to certain diagrams. But here, Yoda's beaten tree, you're gonna generally say it's gonna hourglass a little bit, mini max go this way, but number of accidents and systems it'll go this way because at that phase, if you limited it under gravity instead of any index, the first of indexes would be we're taking BC current to turn it into DC current because we don't want alternating current inside of here, really. We just want a general system of what that NTF is on the background for this conversation. We need to say the limited models are inside of those known potentials. We're ranging off that index, that being the game board, roll for stamina. Like I said, I just want the D&D board to build into some system inside of there for where the topology is, who's the names and players on the spin. You got the compass in hand to actually break that down before you get into the air turbulence this year, because like I said, it's going to take certain wave functions inside of that square 0 1 1 0 true gate and or numbers of accidents, minor, major, infrastructure is right here, right? I mean, you want to talk about, well, we have this road, the speed limit's this, we change that, they do this, and it congests this, but it opened this up, and what we found, not necessarily what we wanted, but what we found, given some of that state and matter, is the way this function mathematically, at least it generally makes sense, but the phase order is jumping a bunch of steps for it to do that. Like I said, there's a lot of different geometries that are described by this state and how it happens, at least functionally, inside of that truth tree. Because if I had that and the values and therefore the trajectories, we could all agree that that was the game board to make, the number 4, get on the boat and then get into it, and if any phase on that line it didn't have the proper divergence, where would we have been? And so then you get into some of the Fed numbers or the cloud to ground on this thing, and it's just off the rails. And you got to do your best index on that, and generally say not only does it work compressed that way, but because there's fault gates, faults trees, side of faults, yeah, but true, but assisted models on these things act a little different to the spin. I wanted to say, all right, let's do, one of those bots come in here and they made some extra steps, or you know what, it scored some things because it figured out the double jump early in just by accident, and it registered some speed and it kept doing that, and man, it worked awesome on some of those levels, but not all of them, obviously. If that divergence still has these properties to it, then, well, given that base line of code, what could be in that area is to say that an FMA apple falls that way. True. That is true. It'll roll, it'll flat, it'll one-dimensional curvature as much as slope, rise to run, how fast down that thing, depending on what you're looking at there. And those, if not programmed as loops inside of there, or the wave, the loopy string gravity, one-dimensional curvature, two-dimensional curvature that you do by ones and zeros, and it being a particle here, wanted to get sure one of them's crossed the barrier before, popped up something that looked like an object that somebody, sure, Theta, I'll work with Theta. So, again, I'm just looking for the Jedi's fear tree inside of here, whatever gets you going. We put that to the compass, because I will. Very.
How would we find it?
With this, to bring you my compass.
Drill Sergeant always with you.
Is unique.
Unique here having the meaning of broken.
What I have to do, because the only way this works right now.
Where does it point?
You got the skills, kid, but you don't got the.
The thing you want most in this world.
Do the wave functions of those lines. Try that compass to point you north.
Are you telling the truth?
Just to be sure that you're sure. We'll look at this compass here in a minute. 4, 3, 2. We're going the wrong way for sure based on Theta. Where's Theta? Let me bring it back. Who grabs Theta?
To save Will.
By finding the chest of Daily Child.
You blink if you're in there, 42.
Mr. Gibbs! Captain!